What if I told you that one of the NFL's most talked about rookies didn't just clash with his coach? He detonated the Cleveland Browns from the inside out. Not with an interception, not with a rookie mistake, with a decision no one saw coming. Shedeur Sanders, hailed as the Browns' savior, stood up in the middle of a team meeting, ripped off his playbook wristband, and walked straight out of headquarters. No explanation, no warning, just silence, footsteps, and the stunned eyes of an entire franchise watching their future drive away. And here's the truth. This wasn't just a heated argument. This wasn't rookie frustration. This was a moment so explosive, so unprecedented, that veteran coaches compared it to an earthquake ripping through the NFL's oldest traditions. By the end of this video, you'll see why Shedeur Sanders' shocking walkout isn't just about one quarterback or one coach. It's about a franchise unraveling. It's about ownership fury, a locker room torn in half, and a power struggle that could change the NFL forever. For weeks, the tension inside the Cleveland Browns facility had been simmering like a storm cloud no one wanted to admit was forming. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie phenom, handpicked by ownership to be the face of the franchise, wasn't just learning an NFL playbook. He was walking straight into a collision course with Kevin Stefanski, the veteran coach known for discipline, hierarchy, and absolute control. Film sessions grew sharper, every incompletion replayed twice, every audible questioned. Even after games where Sanders shined, 3 touchdowns, 70% completion, he left team meetings feeling more like a scapegoat than a savior. Behind the scenes, teammates whispered, "It feels personal, not professional." And then came the moment, a single sentence. "I'm done with this!" The rookie tore off his wristband and walked out. Stefanski chased after him. Coaches froze. Teammates stood in stunned silence. A $100 million gamble. Walking down the hallway and out the front door. This wasn't just drama. This was implosion. A coach screaming in the hallway. An owner slamming the phone on his desk. A locker room split down the middle. Social media catching fire like gasoline had been poured across the internet. And the question hanging over it all, can the Browns survive this? So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to answer 3 burning questions. How did the spark between Stefanski and Sanders explode into a full-blown firestorm? Why is this clash about more than football? It's about the very soul of the Browns. And most importantly, what happens next? Does Cleveland back its rookie quarterback or its veteran coach? By the end of this video, you'll see why this isn't just a quarterback controversy. It's a franchise on the brink of collapse. It was supposed to be just another routine morning installation meeting. Coaches projecting third down packages on the screen. Players scribbling notes. The kind of quiet, structured setting where NFL discipline rules the day. But on this morning, silence cracked. Kevin Stefanski called out Shedeur Sanders on his execution. Not once, not twice, again and again. His tone sharp, his eyes locked on the rookie quarterback. Sanders shifted in his chair. He had taken criticism before. Every quarterback does, but this time was different. Teammates noticed his jaw tighten, his shoulders stiffen, and then the breaking point. He stood up. He ripped off the playbook wristband that never leaves a quarterback's arm, and with a voice cutting through the stunned room, he said, "I'm done with this." The room froze. Coaches blinked, unsure whether this was a joke or rebellion, but Sanders didn't flinch. He turned, walked straight out of the meeting room, and headed for the door. Kevin Stefanski followed, shouting, demanding his quarterback return immediately. Witnesses describe a scene no one had ever seen before. A veteran head coach literally chasing after a rookie in the hallway, his voice echoing down the corridor. One assistant coach later whispered to reporters, "I've never seen Kevin like that. 20 years in this league, I've never witnessed anything like it." But Sanders never turned back. Not once. He ignored the commands. He ignored the pleas. He kept walking. Through the lobby, past the weight room, out the front doors. Teammates scrambled to the windows. Some even followed him into the parking lot. They watched in stunned disbelief as Shedeur Sanders climbed into his car, started the engine, and drove away, leaving the entire franchise standing in silence. This wasn't just frustration. This wasn't just rookie heat. It was the visual of a franchise quarterback literally walking away from the organization meant to be his home. And in that instant, everyone inside the Browns facility knew something had just broken that couldn't easily be fixed. To understand why this blew up, you have to see the bigger picture. This wasn't just a clash over play calls. This was two worlds colliding inside the same locker room. On one side, Kevin Stefanski, old school football mind. He believes in hierarchy, discipline, earning respect brick by brick. To him, quarterbacks aren't crowned. They're forged. Mistakes are exposed. Leadership is demanded. Accountability is non-negotiable. On the other side, Shedeur Sanders, the face of a new generation. He represents empowerment, instant impact, and zero tolerance for what he sees as outdated authority. For Sanders, talent speaks louder than seniority. He was drafted to lead now, not 5 years from now, and he refuses to play the waiting game. For weeks, the tension simmered. After Cleveland's ugly loss to the Rams, it boiled. Sanders had played well, 3 touchdowns, a 70% completion rate, but Stefanski's post-game film review shredded him. Every incompletion replayed, every protection adjustment second-guessed, every audible questioned. One teammate later told reporters, "It felt personal, not professional." Coach blamed Shedeur for everything, even when he carried us. And Shedeur noticed something else. Despite ownership's vision of him as the franchise cornerstone, Stefanski kept splitting first-team reps with backups. At times, journeyman quarterbacks got more snaps in practice than the rookie savior. To Sanders, that wasn't just coaching. It was sabotage. To Stefanski, it was structure. To Sanders, it was disrespect. This wasn't just about football anymore. It was about identity. One man clinging to tradition. One rookie demanding change. And when those philosophies collided in that meeting room, sparks turned into wildfire. The moment Sanders' car disappeared from the parking lot, silence consumed the Browns' facility. Some players stood frozen by the doors, helmets still in hand. Others gathered in groups, whispering, phones buzzing with texts. Did that really just happen? Then came the split. Receivers, the ones who'd built chemistry with Sanders, were furious. To them, this wasn't insubordination. It was loyalty betrayed by the coaching staff. One wideout reportedly confronted Stefanski directly, demanding to know why their quarterback was being pushed out. Defensive players tried to stay neutral, but even they admitted privately that the situation felt unstable. A veteran linebacker told a reporter, "We're trying to focus on Pittsburgh, but honestly, it feels like leadership's collapsing around us." The offensive line, long considered Stefanski loyalists, suddenly looked torn. Some quietly supported the coach's tough love stance. Others muttered that protecting a quarterback who didn't feel protected himself was a recipe for disaster. Inside the locker room, division was unmistakable. Half the team felt Stefanski had crossed a line, turning constructive criticism into personal attack. The other half believed Sanders had committed the ultimate betrayal, walking out on his brothers in arms. One veteran summed it up perfectly. The locker room feels broken. Half the guys ride with the coach, half ride with Shedeur. Nobody's riding together anymore. And while players wrestled with divided loyalties, the building itself felt poisoned. Coaches huddled in whispered meetings. Assistants darted down hallways with panicked faces. Every room buzzed with the same thought. What happens now? This wasn't just a rookie versus coach conflict anymore. It was a fracture that reached every corner of the team. And once a locker room cracks, sometimes it never heals. News of Sanders' walkout traveled faster than the rookie himself driving out of the facility. Within minutes, it hit the one man no one wanted to anger, owner Jimmy Haslam. This wasn't just another player dispute. This was Haslam's hand-picked savior, the quarterback he had publicly called the future of the franchise. And now, that future was burning rubber out of the parking lot. According to insiders, Haslam erupted the moment he heard. Phones slammed. Voices raised. One source described his reaction in a single word: volcanic. He dialed Stefanski immediately, not for calm discussion, for answers. Witnesses said the call wasn't a conversation. It was an explosion. Haslam demanded to know how a rookie could walk out on the franchise he personally championed. He allegedly screamed that Stefanski needed to fix the situation immediately or face consequences. And just like that, the power dynamic shifted. What began as a quarterback-coach clash was now an organizational earthquake. Stefanski, a coach known for discipline and structure, suddenly wasn't fighting Sanders alone. He was fighting the fury of ownership. Sanders, meanwhile, had leverage he couldn't have dreamed of. The man signing the checks wasn't condemning him. He was calling his coach to account. For the first time, Stefanski's authority wasn't just questioned in the locker room, it was questioned in the front office, in the owner's box, and across the entire league. As one executive put it privately, when the owner picks the player over the coach is already halfway gone. The Browns were no longer just fractured. They were unstable at the very top. And when the top begins to shake, the entire organization trembles with it. If the Browns facility felt like it was collapsing from the inside, the outside world was already throwing gasoline on the fire. Within minutes of Sanders walking out, the story leaked. A single tweet turned into a trending storm. The video clip of Stefanski's press conference, jaw clenched, hands gripping the podium, voice cracking as he said, "We've done everything to support him," racked up millions of views by the hour. Then came the heavy hitters. Shannon Sharpe fired off a tweet. Stefanski just fumbled away Cleveland's future. Skip Bayless countered instantly. Finally, a coach who refuses to bow to rookie entitlement. The debate wasn't just sports talk anymore. It was cultural warfare. Fans split viciously. Younger supporters flooded timelines defending Sanders, praising his refusal to accept disrespect. Older fans sided with Stefanski, demanding discipline, hierarchy, and tradition. One fan's post summed it up perfectly. This isn't just about football, it's about values. Authority versus freedom. Old school versus new school. And it wasn't just fans. Former players chimed in. NFL veterans texted Sanders privately with support. Stand your ground. Don't let them break you. Others backed Stefanski. Stay strong. Can't let the inmates run the asylum. The controversy became the league's hottest soap opera. ESPN cut to live coverage. NFL Network rolled breaking news tickers every hour. The Browns weren't preparing for the Steelers anymore. They were starring in the NFL's most dramatic reality show. Every minute online added fuel. Every opinion widened the divide. The Browns' locker room wasn't just split. It was mirrored by a nation divided, watching one rookie quarterback and one veteran coach tear apart a franchise in real time. Here's where the meltdown turns from emotional to legal. And even uglier, Shedeur Sanders isn't a free agent. He's not a veteran who can simply quit. He's under a rookie contract, locked in by the Browns for years. On paper, Cleveland holds the power. If Sanders refuses to return, the team can fine him daily, suspend him indefinitely, or even attempt to void parts of his guaranteed money. Those are the rules of the NFL. That's the leverage management has always used to keep young players in line. But here's the catch. The moment they swing that hammer, the relationship is over forever. Try to punish Sanders, and you don't just risk losing a quarterback. You risk losing the fan base, the locker room, and the trust of every young star watching across the league. What if they back down? If the Browns bend the knee, hand the keys to Sanders, and undermine Stefanski, then the coach's authority collapses overnight. Every player in that locker room will know that the power belongs to the quarterback, not the sideline. And once that line is crossed, you can never erase it. The Browns are trapped in a lose-lose scenario. Play hardball, and they risk torching their own future. Capitulate, and they destroy their organizational discipline. And the timing couldn't be worse. Cleveland faces division rival Pittsburgh in days. Preparation requires focus, unity, trust. Instead, the Browns are drowning in chaos. Coaches whispering behind closed doors. Players scrolling through headlines instead of playbooks. One assistant reportedly joked darkly, "At least the punt team is drama-free." The gallows humor couldn't hide the truth. The Browns weren't game planning for the Steelers anymore. They were fighting for their survival, against each other. By now, it was clear. This wasn't just a quarterback walking out on his coach. This was a civil war inside the Cleveland Browns. Ownership demanded Sanders back on the field. Stefanski dug in, determined to defend his authority. The locker room split in half. And the fans? They were tearing each other apart online. Every tweet another bullet in the war of opinions. This is what happens when identity collides with survival. Do the Browns stand with their old school coach, clinging to discipline and hierarchy? Or do they embrace their young star quarterback, betting on empowerment and change? The problem? Either choice carries destruction. If they back Stefanski, they risk alienating their prized rookie, turning him into the latest casualty in Cleveland's endless quarterback carousel. If they back Sanders, they cut the legs out from under their head coach, destroying the very foundation of authority that holds an NFL team together. Across the league, executives whispered in fascination and horror. One NFC general manager confided, "This is exactly why quarterback evaluation isn't just about arm talent. You're drafting personalities, not just players." Another AFC exec added, Cleveland is making every mistake possible. It's almost impressive how badly they've mismanaged this. Inside the building, the atmosphere was toxic. Receivers glaring at coaches, linemen whispering in corners, defensive leaders trying and failing to keep peace, assistants quietly updating resumes, sensing the ground shifting beneath them. And Stefanski himself? According to confidants, he told those closest to him, "I'd rather get fired with integrity than survive through capitulation." That wasn't strategy. That was a last stand. The Browns weren't just preparing for Sunday's game anymore. They were preparing for a war with themselves, a war with no winners. The clock is ticking. The Browns aren't just staring down another AFC North showdown. They're staring down an existential crisis. In just days, Cleveland is supposed to line up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a bitter rival, a game that demands unity, precision, and complete focus. Instead, the Browns are unraveling in public. Inside the facility, preparation feels impossible. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz reportedly told his staff, "Prepare like normal, while everything burns around us." Special teams coach Bubba Ventron tried humor, muttering, "At least the punt unit is drama-free." The nervous laughter that followed sounded more like resignation than relief. Players checked their phones more than their playbooks. Media trucks lined the parking lot. Cameras pointed like vultures circling a dying animal. Reporters pushed microphones into faces, asking not about coverages or blitz pickups, but about loyalty. Are you with Sanders or with Stefanski? Behind closed doors, negotiations rage. Sanders' camp reportedly demands guaranteed starting reps, more input in play calling, even a public apology from Stefanski. The coach's counteroffer? Sanders returns immediately, apologizes to the team, and accepts whatever role the staff decides. Neither side is moving. Neither side is blinking. And time is running out. Ownership grows more desperate by the hour. The fan base more divided. The locker room more fractured. Every minute that passes without resolution pushes Cleveland closer to catastrophe. And, hanging over it all, the Steelers waiting patiently, smelling blood in the water. One Pittsburgh coach reportedly told his defense, "Stay patient. They're imploding. Let their chaos destroy them." Sunday isn't just a football game anymore. It's the deadline for survival. For fans of the Cleveland Browns, heartbreak isn't new. Quarterback controversies? They've seen dozens. Coaching casualties? Too many to count. Rebuilds that collapse before they even begin? It's practically tradition in Cleveland. But this feels different. Not just because Shedeur Sanders is a rookie phenom, or because Kevin Stefanski is a respected veteran coach. It feels different because it strikes at the very DNA of the franchise. The Browns have lived in chaos for decades. High draft picks wasted. Talented players ruined. Coaches fired in cycles so fast, the paint on their office doors barely dries. Each time, fans hope the cycle is broken. Each time, the dysfunction finds a way to return. And now, in 2024, that dysfunction has a new face. A rookie quarterback literally walking out of the building. A head coach refusing to bend. An owner screaming down the phone. It's not just a storyline. It's a case study in how organizations collapse when their foundations are weak. Stefanski stands for discipline, order, and authority. If he loses, the message to the league is clear. Head coaches no longer hold the power. Sanders stands for empowerment, change, and defiance. If he loses, he risks being branded as immature, uncoachable, a label that follows quarterbacks forever. But if both lose, if the Browns implode completely, then history will remember this as the moment Cleveland's dysfunction became irreversible. A league executive summed it up perfectly. This isn't about one player or one coach anymore. It's about the Browns as an institution. Something is broken in their culture, and until they fix that, nothing changes. And that's the haunting truth. This isn't just another quarterback controversy. This is a mirror reflecting the Browns' deepest curse. The endless cycle of chaos, where no amount of talent or money can cover up a broken foundation. So what happens now? That's the terrifying part. No one knows. If Shedeur Sanders wins this standoff, he sets a precedent the NFL has rarely seen. A rookie quarterback forcing not just respect, but control. He'll be remembered as the player who challenged the system and bent it to his will. If Kevin Stefanski holds the line, he may keep his principles intact, but he might lose his job, his locker room, and his franchise quarterback all in one blow. And if both lose, then the Browns, once again, will be the NFL's cautionary tale. A reminder that talent means nothing when leadership collapses. Either way, Cleveland isn't walking away unscathed. Trust is broken. Relationships are severed. The Browns' 2024 season is compromised beyond repair. Even if Sanders returns tomorrow, the scars remain. Even if Stefanski survives this season, his credibility is forever questioned. One insider put it bluntly: someone's getting fired. Maybe everyone's getting fired. This is organizational Armageddon. And that's the chilling truth. This isn't just a fight about a quarterback or a coach. It's about who controls the future of a franchise, and maybe even the future of the NFL. Because if a rookie can walk out of the building and hold an entire organization hostage, what does that mean for every other team? What does that mean for the balance of power in the league itself? The next 48 hours could decide careers, rewrite legacies, and define Cleveland's fate for years. But here's the bigger question. If the Browns are already imploding in September, what happens when the storm really hits?